Hi guys, in this video I just want to talk about the Canon 7D Mark II and a few things that you can do to change the settings so that you'll be a lot quicker with the focusing system in the field. We all know that when you're out and about, you want to know your camera inside out. You want to know where the buttons are to change all the settings, and you want to be able to do it without looking away from the viewfinder. So there's three things I want to talk about. First one, when you're in the field and you want to change your focusing point, or you want to change the selection of how many selected focusing point you have to press this top right button on the back of the camera first, and then you can go over to the little joystick and select where you're going to put your focusing point. So one thing we can do, we can take away the need for you to press that button. How to do that is we can go into the menu, head over to the fifth one along, which is the camera, and you can see custom controls, and we'll go down to the bottom there where you'll see this little multi-controller set to off normally, and that's this button here. So we want to go in here and we want to change that to direct autofocus point selection. Put that on basically means that we can just head straight to this to select our autofocus point without the need for this button. Now for selecting what kind of focusing point you want, you can go to the one directly beneath it, and you'll turn it one over to the right and it says direct autofocus area selection. We'll press that one. Basically what this means is, next time you're out in the field, you're focusing on something, you don't have to press this little button up on the right. You go directly over to the joystick to move your focusing point, or to actually switch what kind of area is in focus. So using the point, the 5 points, or the whole selection. For tip number 2, we are going into the focusing system again, and it has to do with which focus area you want to have, what you want to be using. So there's all these different options. You start here with like half a point in focus, 1 point, 5 with the extended middle one, all the way up to using all 65 points to doing your autofocus. Now, I do wildlife photography. I don't need 7 different selections for my autofocusing. So you can cut it down so that you just take out the ones you don't need. Back into the menu, head over to the second bar up top, which is the autofocus. We go to select AF area, select mode. You can unclick all the ones you don't want. Half a point I don't need, so I'll take it away. One of them has to be on, that's the 1 point one. Then we got the 5 points with the one extended in the middle. I use that. I'll switch over to that when I'm doing birds in flight and these kind of things. You have a little bit bigger area to play with. The next one along, it's just basically a bigger version of that, where you have the one extended in the middle and you have 8 little dots around it. I'll take that one off. I think I'll get by fine with the 5 point one. Last two, large zone autofocus and all 65 points. I don't need any of those. I'll keep on one of these. It's basically a third, it looks like. Around about, no, it's like 9 points zone to move it about. I'll keep that one for now. I've taken out 4 of the ones I don't need, 4 of the ones I hardly ever use, and it'll just save me some extra time. Let's go to tip number 3, and that is, if you're like me and you use the single point for focusing a lot, and sometimes you'll move it about because you don't want to focus and then recompose. You want to put the little point exactly what you want to focus on. So if you're going by using your rules of thirds and all of that, putting it up in a corner maybe, it takes quite a long time to move this thing about. You want to, it's a lot of steps because you have all 65 points that you want to move about. So what you can do, if you don't want to be using all of these different points to move about, you can reduce the number of focusing points that are there. You go into the menu again, autofocus, and 4th one along, you go up to Selectable AF Point. And in here, you get the selection of 65 points, which is what the default for the camera, but you can then change it to 21 points and even down to 9 points. So if we try out the 9 point here, we go back in, you see you have the 1 point focusing now, and you move it, and it'll just skip it'll turn off all these middle ones, and it'll jump right to, you have one on each side, one up in the corner, up and down. So it's pretty well positioned so that when you're using the rules of thirds of that, it's going to go into where you would normally put it anyway, but it's a lot quicker to move in between, a lot faster. And a little tip on that as well, if you are using the 65 focusing point and you're way out on one side, you can press the little joystick and the little focusing point will jump back into the middle, which is quite quick, quite handy, and I didn't know this until quite recently. Quickly recap the 3 tips for quickly changing your autofocus settings while you're in the field is: number 1, cut out the use of that top right button. You don't need it. Go straight to the joystick and move your point about or cycle through the selection. Number 2 is take away some of these focus selections that you don't need. There's 7 different ones. You don't need all of them. Figure out which ones you use. Only use those. So when you cycle through, you're only cycling through 2, 3, 4 maybe. You know, this could work on a lot of different Canon models, and if you don't have a Canon model, there will be things that you can do to speed up that process in the field, and it's something that's definitely worth learning so that the next time you're out and about, you're not going to fumble about too much, and you're going to it's going to save you valuable seconds or fractions of a second either. It all counts in the end. Thank you very much for watching. Please do subscribe and hit that like button, and I'll see you in the next one.